Hello and welcome. I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a program to assess the similarity between musical tunes, and we've done a basic version of that gives us the Parsons code, which is the shape of the melody, kind of the derivative of the shape of the melody maybe. And lately we've been working on the idea of quantizing rhythms. So if you have two songs, one's written with quarter notes, relatively slower, and one's written with eighth notes, relatively faster, you might like to compare them. You know, the eighth notes might have a lot of frivolous notes in there, but the core of the song is the same. And so we're working on that. And to do that, one of the things we're doing is changing the way we interpret notes coming in to capture their rhythm. And we went through a phase of, there are multiple ways to do note lengths. And when we added the one that worked in line in the middle of a bunch of notes, we found out we had to change the way we were doing things. So we're working on that still. And we're down to the point of multiplying note lengths so that we have the note length, the unit note length. Say you've said you're going to write eighth notes and you write a note that's an A, then it should be an eighth note. If it's a B2, two eighth notes should be a quarter note. So we're working our way through that. All right. And we left off with two failing tests, and I think we should actually have a third. Let's find note or rhythm. I think rhythm. We'll probably add there. Okay. All right. We added this thing multiply, but we don't actually have a specific test for that in rhythm because we drove it from multiple levels up. I want to add that test. So before I do that, I'm just going to comment this out. Oops. All right, and put it back when we're ready. All right. So the rhythm tests. Let's make a test of multiplying rhythms. Rhythm multiplication. Okay, and if we take rhythm 2, 4 times rhythm 3, 2, that should equal rhythm 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, let's... All right, and we don't have times. I wrote it as multiply. I think I like the name times better, so we're going to change that. All right, and rhythm. Let's make this times. Times. Okay, and our test should compile. And this should fail because we modified. Okay, and 2, 4, so it didn't multiply anything because we commented it out. All right, but we should, just like multiplying fractions, we should be able to numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, and that should pass. Okay, good. I'm going to check those two in, but not the rest. I don't like doing that, but That's the paint where I painted myself. Okay, rhythm, ABC, rhythm tests, keynote's fine. Add times to rhythm. I also did an offline change. We had been marking when you created a note. I had it defined to take a string, but really every use of it is a character. So I changed that and tried to check in behind our changes. I don't know why I'm being stupid. I tried a couple other things too to try and make some nicer ways of writing notes for tests, and I wasn't happy with that, so it left that behind. All right. If we run these, we should still get failures because these two. Okay. And note multiplied by rhythm. Okay, so here we're creating a B natural 3-2, and our, why didn't you rename? Times, oh, no. Yeah, we didn't rename in note. We dealt with rhythms, but we want to multiply notes by rhythms now. Okay, and let's go down to note. And I'm going to name this times. And I think this still fails. Oh no, maybe not. Looks like our rhythm build failed. Note has no method times. Note multiplied by rhythm. Oh, musical element, not note. Okay. Do we have that up? Apparently not. All right, let's run all tests. Okay, note times rhythm. All right, and let's see what times does. All right, so yeah, so basically we just created a dummy method for this. It returns self always, but we really want to take our note and multiply it. So let's take well, I think we should just be able to return musical element, well, maybe just dot note, but we need a new value. Well, it's really value dot times rhythm. Okay, so if you say multiply a musical element that happens to be a note times a rhythm, we're going to take the note's value and multiply that times the rhythm. Now, I don't know if we have a note multiply yet, so let's see if this builds. Okay, we do. All right. And let's see what's the complaint here. It keeps going away. Let's just do a clean. Tell you, Xcode, I like a lot about it, but it's got little synchronization bugs. Okay, so this now should pass. Okay, and then finally, score with note lengths. All right, let's read this thing. Okay, it's a lot of setup, isn't it? That's why I was trying to get this thing a little more natural. Okay, so I have A, B with rhythm 1-1. I set the initial note length to 1/8, and then I have the notes, and then I change the note length to 1/4, and I get the notes reversed. So I should see A, B in eighth notes and B, A in quarter notes. All right. And we have this score.complete thing I'm not wild about, but we have it. And then absolute rhythms, AB.map. Okay, so we're trying to turn our AB into eighth notes and our BA into quarter notes. And the expected value is the sequence of those. Okay, now the actual value. Okay, we got 1, 1. We expected eighth note, quarter note. So that tells me that our score is not doing its job on that. And I believe that's kind of where we knew we were at. Okay, yeah. All right. The element, let's split these cases up. We actually need to change the note to do this. So the note and the rest are going to be different. So this one is note, and this one is rest. Okay, and oh, maybe not, actually. We're kind of getting it for free, aren't we? All right, so let's see. If we see a note length, we update the unit note length. Okay, that's a variable. Was written to but never read. Okay, so instead of the element is either a note or a rest, we need to do element dot times unit note length. Okay, so we're basically saying as you add elements in, they need to be adjusted for rhythm. Okay, and we don't handle rests yet, but we're not testing rests yet. So I believe this will pass for notes. Okay, and that's great. Okay, let's run them all. Oh, I filtered. Like, where are they? Okay. And let's check in. All right, so we make score, musical element, and rhythm all can multiply notes, adjust notes as they're added to measures. And that's a good thing. Okay, so now I want to make sure rests work as well. So let's score test our last. Okay, yeah. Let's make a rest version of this. And I don't need as much complexity as we have here. Okay, so rhythm, let's just say rest is musical element dot rest rhythm 1 1 because that's just how they default. Okay, we don't need the notes. Elements. I don't think we need this. Oh, maybe we do. Okay, elements. We're going to say this is rhythm 1/8, and we're going to try rest, and then rest again. I don't know if this will work with a flat map. I may have to put them in brackets. Okay. So we're going to say do an eighth note rest and quarter note rest. I don't know why you're not element. Why we need that here, I don't know. Okay, result is a score with those elements. Mark it complete. Flat map is deprecated. Okay, I think, like I said, I probably have to do this. Okay, so I'm flattening lists, not mix of a list and others. All right, absolute rhythms. Well, this is musical element dot rest with rhythm 1/8. And this is also a rest. Rhythm 1/4. I think we can inline this and take out the flat map. Okay, result is measures. There should be one measure. That measure should be, I guess R44 is a default rhythm. This is rests in score. Reflect this, and maybe I should say notes in score. Okay, 4/4, we create a rest, rhythm 1/1. We create a sequence that says elements, note lengths are 1/8, put in a rest, change it to 1/4, put in a rest, so we should get out a 1/8 and a 1/4. And that should be that. This should fail because we don't handle rests somewhere. I think musical element. Okay, and index out of range. Okay. Wasn't quite expecting an index out of range. Let's see result. Oh, result 1. Yes, that should be a 0. Okay. I have to channel Ted Young because he's very solid on making sure you get the failure you expected. All right, wrong stuff in there? Yeah, that's what I expected. 1/1 because they were all 1/1s, and should be 1/8, 1/4. All right. And let's see. So who's falling apart on the job? Well, I think it's score. No, it's musical element. There. Okay. So notes, and we don't handle rest specifically. So let's add the case of a rest. Let rhythm and return rest of rhythm. Oh, I should name this something else. Let old rhythm Okay, so we push down that. Should be good. Should all pass. Let's go ahead and add this other case specifically. Just, I don't know. There's a little redundancy across this, but I'd feel better having the specific checks if I came back to this. So this is arrest. And we're going to times rhythm 1/8. And I think the descriptions with rest just put the time signature, or yeah, time 3/16. Let's make this a 2. I just want to mix it up a little. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 8 is 16. And let's make that a 4. Okay. Just again, I don't like to use the same number across these things so much, so just making sure. All right, this should be a passing test. It's more to reassure me than it is to drive anything. Okay, so rests can be multiplied by rhythms. Alrighty. Now, let's get our to-do updated. Apply L when we calculate measures. Make sure test check after that calculation. I think we've just done that. Yeah, I get a lot of crap for it. I find it works better for me. Theoretically, the studies I've looked at say it should be better for you, but I don't know. Dark mode just feels overwhelming. Okay. Rhythm multiply, note multiply explicit. We did that. Okay, so no, I understand. Let's see. Have you been here long enough to catch what's going on here? Oh, okay. So I'm working on a program to compare musical tunes, and the file format I'm using is this monstrous thing. I mean, this document describing it's about 100 pages, so there's just all kinds of stuff in there. But one of the things it does is when you're looking for notes, let's see if I can find an example here. You put like the letter of the note letters C, B, A, G, and so on. But you have this notion of what's the length of the note. So down here, I just have relative lengths. I don't say anything. It's a 1. This one's a 2. This one's a 2. That one's a 3. Okay. So this L colon thing tells me, oh, it should really be 8th notes. And so the program I have, we haven't dealt with rhythm yet. We've dealt with pitches, but not rhythm. We make little graphs of the melodies, and we're going to do more. But the format says I can put the 8th note up in the header, or I can put it mix it in the body of the thing, or I can even put it in line with the notes. And because we did that, we needed to kind of apply all that multiplication at the end. So an 8th note times 1 times 1 times 2 is a quarter note, and so on. And this is kind of a big change for us because we'd been assuming like you could just do it as you go, and it turns out you can't. So that's just kind of the way it is. Let me run this once just so you see what we've got so far, which is pretty limited considering. But what you do is you put in tunes in this ABC format, which some music editing programs will generate or people write by hand. And then I'm saying generate report. What I want to do is take these songs, and I'm doing this thing that tells me is here's the first note, then does it go down, 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 repeats, up, down, up, up, up. Well, that's the parsons code, and then I translated that and made a little graph out of it. And the idea is you can look at these graphs and decide, okay, this tune, that's very similar to that one. That's probably the same one. This looks like the front. Well, no, it's not quite the same. It's similar enough as far as it goes, but it leaves out a bit. Same for that one. That's kind of back to the original. Very similar, very similar. A little less similar to these other two. Well, this one's way different. It's going mostly down instead of mostly up. That's like the original, but not as much up motion, and so on. So this one's way different, so rather than trying to listen to them and say like, oh, I remember of, what I have in, I think I have 39 tunes, trying to listen to them and say, which two are the most similar and which ones are less than that? I can do this kind of looking at this and cluster them in, according to some measure of similarity. I don't have a big clustering algorithm or anything like that. It's kind of it doesn't have to be isomorphic though. It's more of a correlation is what I would expect. So what I'm going to do in the longer run, well, the reason I'm doing this stuff with the rhythms is this version might have been written with all bunch of eighth notes. So and then one's going boom, boom, boom. And, they're really the same basic tune, but one's just got fancier notes in the middle. I want to unify the rhythms and compare them. But then I want to do like something like define a measure, a similarity measure. Like maybe you get, I don't know, you get a point if you're going the same direction. Maybe it's a 0 if you're off by 1 and a -1 if you're off by 2 or something, or I don't know how we'll do it, but make some measure to say like note for note, how close are you? Okay. These first two that were identical, note for note, I mean, they look pretty close to identical. I can't quite tell. But they're going to come with a perfect correlation of 1, or something like that. And this one is going to be limited. Maybe it's a 1 as far as it goes. But this one going down, 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 the first part's somewhat similar, but then it keeps going down. It's going to be very different. So once I have that correlation between, I can make right now I'm thinking I'll make an n by n grid, which may be a problem when I have large numbers, but, basically do n squared or, the bottom half of a triangle of it. And then try and do some sort of graph clustering thing. I don't know if there's any easy way to do that, or if I can pick up like there's the dot notation stuff that has some graph clustering kind of stuff. So I'd like to see that happen, and then then kind of compress these 39 tunes into like, oh, there's kind of 5 basic shapes, and you can see them clustered together. So that's the kind of analysis I'm hoping for. It's coming slow. I mean, I'm on episode 28, so about 50 hours a week and change maybe of actual coding. And I've got basically the notes. I've just started doing the measures like last week, and this week I'm putting the rhythms in. Yeah, it's really the difference between positions. So if one's going up and the other's going across or down, that's a significant difference, And I want to give a little credit for being more similar, But I don't care. The notes themselves are not visible in this view. There are other analyses that would care about the notes. I'm working with a kind of a music researcher. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. I don't know if I can show it on camera. They've made a graph that's like for every the first note of every tune, is it most likely to be this or this or that, and then they have kind of a distribution of notes. So that's a different analysis compared to 1D arrays. Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I definitely would compare the letters, not the graph. Yeah. So, well, I don't know. Yeah, it might make sense to compare either one, you know? But anyway, there's certainly a bunch of analyses that musicologists would make, and I'm trying to tackle some of those and build a little framework. I want something that's more um, like a stack of drag and drop tools. You know, here's an input, here's some transformations, here's a report or an analysis you want to do, and see what we can come up with. So it's for my personal research. Yeah. If there was somebody who was paying me for it, I'd be happy, but I don't think it's in the cards. We'll see. It may be so amazing. Everybody just has to have it, you know? But yeah, so, all right. So we have just made those tune multiplications go. And now I'm kind of trying to work through implications of this change that before it was kind of a one pass, build the notes and the measures and all that stuff. Well, it was build the notes. And then when the measures, I had to sort of add a second pass for that. And now I've had this tune length in there. And the fact is you can change keys or time signatures or a bunch of other stuff in the middle of music. I mean, that's pretty common. And we don't handle most of those yet. We need to. We do have this notion of parts. A lot of tunes have an A part and a B part, and it'll be like A A B B. It, plays the A part twice and then the B part twice. And we need to make that kind of follow this new approach as well. But the first thing I have is this: we have this notion of complete, and I feel like I'm going to make some bigger changes here. So one thing is, I think, let me get to score. Okay. So score was basically the notes and the measures and logic for parsing the notation. Yeah, I didn't see any library. I didn't see any library for parsing it. The ones I know that are doing it, most of it is commercial tools or semi-commercial tools. So yeah, that's too bad. But I'm doing okay on the parsing, I think. The notes were the craziest, and I've got that done, so I'm doing okay. It's called ABC. Up here to the top. So it's this standard notation that there are a bunch of like tune libraries. So if you want fiddle tunes and stuff like that, which is kind of an interest of mine, they have a lot of that. Oh, I just had a link to that and lost it. But there are definitely thousands and thousands of tunes written with this stuff, and libraries libraries of tunes, not libraries of code. So I haven't found one. I'm working in Swift too, for what it's worth, and it's. I mean, there was one Objective-C one that just didn't quite look like it was going to be a fit. So, yeah. But yeah, it's a little bit. It's standard enough, I think. It's some tools do it. I use one called TableEdit. Is a notation tool designed for writing. I play dulcimer, so it's a 3-stringed instrument, and this thing I think can export to ABC. Yeah, so it's a commercial tool. But it's a moderately standard format that's out there. But yeah. All right. So one thing that's bugging me, the fact is, when I had everything in one pass, it made sense to say there's a tune, there's a score, there's this, there's that. But in the future, it's now the present. When I have two passes, I'm kind of mixing up stuff, and I don't like it. This thing is holding the musical elements, but really the people who are going to use it, they're going to ask about the measures, most likely. They might ask about the measures and then pull the notes out or something like that, but it's going to change. And so I think I need to reconceptualize that there's sort of like musical elements that are the events coming in from this ABC notation. Go back here again. each of these, well, this is a row of notes captured with measures. But if I had note these instructions in here, like switch key to the key of G on the back half or something, that's almost more like an event stream. I have a change to quarter notes, L1/8. Okay, do L1/8 throughout. L1/4, change to quarter notes. And so it's kind of a stream of stuff. And so I think I'm going to change the name of musical element, and I think I'm going to have to reintroduce it at some point. But I believe what I want to do is call these events for now, because they're going to have every possible, like there's going to be key changes and time signature changes and I don't know, 3 or 4 others that can change as you go. And those are kind of events in this stream. We don't really care about them once we've finished our construction of the actual tune. So let's change this to event. And I guess up here too. Oops. Okay. And there's musical element tests. Let's get those too. Oh, I didn't check in the last thing. Oh, terrible. Okay. Oh, no, those are changes because of musical element. Okay, that's okay. Event. Event tests. Okay, make sure everything's running. It probably won't because let's do a clean. Okay, event test has no member note. Does the event? Oh, I may have screwed this up big time. Fortunately, nobody really references event tests except the test framework. Okay, so rename musical element to event as tests. And I'm going to run across code that says element, and it probably should be event now. All right, now score. I don't know. I got to do this. I don't want to break stuff as I go, but the thing there is, right now I'm saying you should accumulate all your stuff and then call complete, and it'll produce the measures. But I think what it should do, I almost think it should produce a new score for you. But maybe score is not the right, maybe there should be a new thing. Okay, and let me get tune. Again. I don't know if tune wants to. Okay, tune knows parts. That's definitely wrong now. This is like, again, you're kind of accumulating stuff. And I just don't know if that's the right way. I'm almost thinking it's like tune prototype or something like that, or proto tune, maybe, like not quite a tune. All right, but I don't think I'm ready to rename this. It's somewhere around score. I'm more worried. Okay, like score. I don't think the measures should be part of the score. I think that should be its own thing. Okay, now these elements are now events. Let's rename this one for sure. Okay, and that gets at what I'm trying to do, that I want this object to hold events, or somebody's got to hold the events, and then when they're done, they should produce something that has measures. That should be a separate object. All right, and measures just returns the measures, which is what complete does. Okay, so yeah, this events, I think the things that are holding scores should not be holding scores at this time, which the core of it is tune. Okay, tune knows parts to scores. I don't think it should. Okay, let's see where we are on the plan of things here. Do we need complete? Okay, that's a fair question. I think the parts we need to deal with before we deal with meter. Okay, so this is one of these where I've had kind of a series of insights, and I think this is the original meaning of technical debt, that, you know, I went on doing stuff, I introduced some new concept and realized, like, oh, that's what all these things need to do. They need to accumulate and then generate the real tune. Okay, and the fact that my code doesn't do that yet, this gap of what I think would be the right design and the current design, that's the debt. And the longer I go on with that, the harder it's going to be to shove everything else into the right place, because like meter and key and all these other things, they want to work with the new. They'll be easier in the new structure than the old structure. Okay, complete dirty flag on score. All right, so I think maybe this is where I got to go first. I think what will happen is that instead of storing parts, I'm going to take that parts functionality out of the tune where it is now, and I'm going to put it in the score. Well, I really would like this to maintain my list of events rather than a score. Okay, so I'm going to tackle this. All right, let's see if this makes sense. Handle parts differently. Okay, yes, that's what we're going to do. So make score handle parts events. Okay, so we have now, score is handling this stream of events, and I think parts should become events. Now, if we change parts to generate events and not hold the parts anymore, then this won't. If we did this first, like change this to spit out part events first, I would be spitting out part events, not maintaining the parts in the tune, but my score doesn't handle part events, so everybody would break at that point. So I think if I can make score handle part events first, that it'll make the transition a little easier. Okay, so make score handle part events, then make clients of score find the parts, and then make tune generate parts events rather than maintaining the parts itself. Okay, and I think this complete thing will go away later. All right, that is a good plan, I think. All right, so score, let's find score. Let's close tabs to the right, and I kind of like those two available to do a no scaling, but I can close tabs to the right again. All right, and find score tests. Okay. So I'm saying the complete function should divide stuff into parts. Okay, so it doesn't have that concept now. And I guess I'm going to have to go look at Tune after all, because Tune does have that concept. Okay, so Tune has parts, and it has current part. Okay. Parts is just a map from the character name A part, B part, C part to a score. But score is mostly measures at this point. Okay, we're going to need something like that over here. All right, so the test. Well, I'm going to keep things simple. Score, contract parts. Okay, so let's create this rest. And we're going to say, oh, we need some elements. Oh, these are events. And if there are elements up here, there probably should be events. I miss IntelliJ, which would have done this for me when I renamed it. Okay. Okay. We want to rest. We want to make some events. Let's do a event dot. This is a part change. Let's see what they call it over here. P parts. Okay, event dot parts doesn't exist yet. Event dot part A. Let's put a rest. Let's make rest 1, rest 2, so I can tell them apart. Two. Okay. And maybe I'll put 2 rests in here. Okay. Event has no member part. All right. Let's go find event. Where are you? Oh, I thought you were supposed to be alphabetical. Okay. We want to add a part. Okay, and probably some people will complain. Okay, yeah. This is description. I'm okay with that. Case.part, let character. Okay. Score tests. All right. So I've got the parts. I want to make a score, mark it complete. And measures is not quite what I want. I want to say score.part A. Let's call this section, well, part would be a better name. Part A. It doesn't exist, and I want to assert something on it. A part contains measures, I think. Part A dot measures dot count should be 1. Ooh. Measures dot count should be 1. Let's try this with B. I think his measure count. Let's put a bar line in here. Okay, his count should be 2. All right, I think that'll be enough. Whew. Yeah, a big change in score here. Okay, so score needs a part method. Part takes a part name of character, and it returns, I don't know what. Maybe it returns the measures for it. Okay, I think that's okay. Part A, oh, it will be just the measures. Count, okay. All right, this should fail. Okay, switch must be exhaustive. Score complete. Okay, yeah, we need a case for part. We don't need that break anymore. Put one here though. Okay, making sure our test runs and fails. Two failures. Probably came back 0 and 0. Yep, because we returned empty measures. All right, we're due for a break, so let's take 3 minutes and we'll come back. get this stuff passing, and then that'll be the first step on getting Score to be in charge of parts instead of Tune. Welcome back. All right. So we have this notion of events having parts, and within them there are notes or measures. And this one has one measure, and this one has two because it's got a bar line between them. All right. So I think we're going to borrow structure from this. Really, parts. Let's put that up here. So parts is character. I think it's to array of measure is what we're really after. Okay, and let's see what will happen. Measure. Okay. I guess what we need to do is we need the current part. Okay, so let's keep track of that. I guess we can do that in here. Okay, so the current part, well, the default is A. And I don't know, maybe I have to say it's character just to make it clear. Okay, and when we complete a measure, result.append, okay. Well, the real thing is part should adjust current part. Okay. That has to happen. And then when you complete a measure, measure.append, okay, result.append here, I think the invariant we want is every part has an entry in that table. Okay, so if not parts dot contains, no, there's got to be a better parts dot has key, no, part sub current part is nil, then we need to set it. Okay, so we're going to put an empty measure in there for now. Empty list of measures. Okay. And what else we're saying is whenever somebody appends this to the list of measures, they also ought to be appending it to the current part. So parts subcurrent part dot append let's call this new measure. We're going to want to append new measure as well. Okay. So we have our structure. Sorry, what did that look like before? Dependent dot measure. Well, I think that's event dot measure. Is it? Yes. Measure. Okay, it's measure dot. Okay, that's sensible. All right, so we append this, we append this. Can I use mutating member on a mutable value? Okay. Let part contents equal parts. Oh no, maybe I can. We know parts.current part exists and is at least empty because we got that. So I think we can just say it will be there. Okay. If parts of current part is nil, then we switch to it. If it's still empty, we add a starter. Okay. I think we've done what we need to for parts. Now we have a method parts. Part. Okay. So this should be part name, part sub, part name, and then I'm going to say this for now. We need to handle the case where it's not that, but let's get this one green first. Okay. And I'll just give myself a little reminder here. Func test unknown parts have empty measures. Okay. All right. Now I think we're done. This should pass. Oh. 0. Okay, so result did append measure bar line. We got another one at the end. If measure nil, okay, we need to do the same thing here. Unexpectedly found nil. Oh, okay. We didn't adjust it here. Okay. Because You don't have to specify parts. So if you don't specify any, it should default to A. And if we default to that, then we need to make sure this setup is done in effect. Okay. And that was probably some other test that was blowing up. Apparently not. Well, a 0 is not equal to 1, but 2. Huh. Okay, I'm going to walk through this. Let's run this test again. I don't know if I'm taking too big a step here. Okay, let's make sure, oops. Let's make sure events is what we expect. Should be the rest, yeah, borrowing, okay. Part A, rest. Part B, rest. Barline rest. Okay, so a note or a rest. A. Okay, let's look at measure. Wait a minute. Measures the rate of events. How can that be nil? I mean, a note came first. Sorry, let's do that again. Okay, got our events. First event is a part. Okay. Part. All right, so current part should be A because we just said it, and parts of current part should be an empty list. Okay, next time around, should be back at the top of the loop. Okay. Now we should see a rest. Measure is nil. Okay, measure should not be nil at this point. Empty list, okay. We'll step over that. Let's look at measure now. What? Step over. Try that again. Okay, it's that first rest. Good. All right, next event is another part. And we should be able to see current parts. Should be B. And this should be an empty list. Okay. Measure is nil. This brings up a question of whether measure parts can come in the middle of measures. I don't think they should. But if you see a part, like, I think you need to stop the current measure, and we didn't do that. Okay, so measure, I think at this point has a rest in it, and that's why yeah. So we're going to add 2 more rests. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so measure has those 2, and then a bar line. We'll put the measure in, oops. I don't know what happened there. Some sort of glitch. This should continue. He's stuck on that line. Okay. I think what's going on is because there's no actual bar line. All right, let's break out of here. All right, let's run this again. I think his count is going to be 2. And it's 0. But this one is 2. All right, let's look at that test again. So you come up against this part B. I think yes. If the last thing wasn't a bar line, I mean, if you got an active measure, you should close that measure and append it to the previous part, right? So, yeah, this is becoming more complicated. All right, so if there were no contents in the measure, they could just end it with a bar line. That would be fine. But if there's contents in the measure, we need to capture it. And that seems like more work than I wanted to do. Okay. So if the measure is nil, that means we saw a bar line. Okay, and we don't want to do it. But if measure is not nil, okay, then we need to append new measure is the measure, append that, okay, and set measure equal nil, because we are in a new situation. Okay, let's try this. So we made make score handle parts. I think, I don't know if we can clean up anything on this. All right, I'm going to hold off. I don't know. There's an art to doing that. I'm not sure I'm doing it well. But this stuff is very similar to this. And it's very similar to this. Not equal now. Okay. Yeah, those are kind of similar. But let's add this next test. Unknown parts empty measures. Okay. So I think this is easier. Okay, let's create a score with an empty event list. No, we want to put at least one event in there, don't we? Let's put a rest in there. Okay, mark it complete. Let's make an assert. Score.part zx dot count should be 0. And I guess we can say oops. Score.part A is count should be 1, but x should be 0. I believe that. Okay, and we will fail with an exception. Right here, I expect. Yep. Okay. So if it's not in there, we should want to return an empty measure. And I don't know, somewhere we can check for these, but I think that'll cover us for now. Okay, make score return empty measure for unknown part. All right. So I think that helps that. Now we got to find tune. I think we want to change the way people ask for parts here. But set part specification, that's different. This find right. So if you get a part line with a character, you parse it and you get a part name. Let's see, names type should be character. Good. Okay, so we're saying set the current part on the tune, but I think we need to just put the thing in the stream. Add notes, notes of score, add element. Let's change that to event. Okay, so I think our parser, well, who's going to know if this doesn't happen? I guess what I think is this P stuff in the tune body or in the header. No, the header's different. Okay, in the tune body, you get a P. No, wait a minute. Oh, that's header. Okay, in body, yes. If you get a P, you match the letter and set the current part. Okay, I think what's going to happen is this should generate an element in the stream and add that instead. I don't know where we do that, but add notes is similar. Or L. Yeah, tunes.add. Here's an event. Okay, so we want to do something like that. And the way we find it, okay, I guess we want to find out who calls tunes.parts. Tune.parts. Right, who uses this? Okay, tune to get the notes. Okay, I think we can make it a pass-through. Okay, so if you want to know the current parts, all right, let's add this first and then we'll all right, so tunes.set current part. I don't think that's going to count for anything, but this is going to. Part of name. Okay, so we're doing it both ways now. We're setting it in the tunes current part, and we're generating an element, an event that's going to go through and add that to the stream. So hopefully our stream processing is going to work. Okay, this should pass. Nobody's doing anything different, just a little bit more. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This may be a problem. All right, I'm going to make tune. If you ask me for the score, I think maybe he needs to hold score instead of parts to score. Okay. Yeah, let's. I think let's change this. Current part is A. Somebody should complain. There it is. Set current part. I think we're going to leave it A for now. Okay. And then when you ask for a part, subscript. Okay. We're going to return part sub A, which is the only one we're writing at this point, dot part of name. Okay, now that, if you remember, it returns measures. Part. returns measures. Can we put measures into a score? I don't know. It's a big step. We got elements. Let's try this. Score dot part. No, score dot. Okay, so we're going to put the measures in on this score. Return score. This part goes away. Okay, so I think what I'm saying is when you ask for a part from a tune, it should go to its existing score, which is part sub A, and do that. Now parts goes to score here. Okay, I feel like something's still not quite right. Like we won't have the we'll have the measures, but not the elements. And maybe notes takes care of that. Somebody does not. Okay, let's see notes. Okay, note says map. Take the parts description, map everything to self sub-zero, reduce score, result.add score. Yeah, the score is empty. This is... I'm going to revert in a minute here. How far are we? First test failed. Okay, what's your problem? Well, this is a good one to start with. Okay. Notes of tune reflect as parts. Okay, so we're saying it's going to be a BA is the overall thing, and it should have A. It should have F, D, F, D, right? Okay, and what are we getting? Part B, tune.notes. Part B, F, part A, D, part B, F, part A, D. Right, we still got the elements in there. The events, the switched part event is still in the stream we pulled over. Okay, did I do the measures? It's close. It's very close. We're looking at tune.notes. Maybe we can just filter out the notes. So score.add score. result. Let's see the type of that. He's a score. We're adding a score. Let's see if score has what we need. I mean, it has events. We really just want notes. Let's do that. I don't know. Do I give it the part name? Okay, so if I had the measures, all right, so if I take part of part name, that gives me a list of measures. If I take and map each measure, a measure is an array of measures. Sorry, an array of event? Well, no. It's either none or a measure. I think I just want the events. Okay, so this is a measure in, let's see the type of measure. Thank you. Part gives me back array of measures. Okay, so if I iterate over part, each one is a measure. All right, and then each measure has events. I really want to get to this. Now that should be complaining about the return type. cannot return. Type any to return type event. This is array of events. Why is it event and this is events? Make sure this type. Why are you an error type? Okay, that's events, which is an array of events. Empty array. All right, so somehow that map produces this. I think I want to do a flat map. That. I'm not calling notes yet, so I got to go back to tune. All right. Score dot notes. Of part name. Oh, I don't have it. Oh, jeez. All right, I'm reverting. This is not going well enough to keep. All right. Code changes. Should be clean. Should be running all tests. I'm going to get rid of this warning while I'm here. Okay. Now my test. Tune. I guess the question is. Okay, let's go back here. This is tune body. Set current part. And I want to say. I want to put the event in tunes.add dot part name. Okay, now this is going to break some people. Okay, it's the same 3 tests, I hope, or two tests. Okay. So when I ask for the notes, like where am I getting them? I think the problem is notes. Okay, so the parts description, it's like A, B, A, B. Okay, and we're saying map each character. Okay, we get the A part. Look up its contents, which is a score. And now add that. Okay, but I don't think I want to do that. Well, I have to, right? I have to get to the list of parts. And if I look up each one, it's like my score is not complicated enough, which seems unlikely. Okay. The thing is, I'm tracking parts to measures. The original way we tracked events. Okay. And now complete does not really track events. I guess the question is, how do I get the notes for a part? That seems doable because we kind of just did it, but notes have measures and measures have events inside them. And if we fetch those notes, I guess it's the tune here. Like we need those notes. And this gives me the score that, let's see, can I do this differently? This is the name. So why am I going there? If I went to the score, let's say we just tracked a single score. That's kind of what we changed it to do. If we track a single score, we're saying go to the score dot part whatever. That should give us a list of measures. And if you want to get the notes from the measures, that seems okay. So if I ask you for the notes, okay. If I said notes subscore, score.notes for part 0, and I gave you back a list of notes, that's kind of what you need to make a score. I don't know why this person wants a score in the first place. Maybe that's the real issue. Notes.events.as note. There's a lot of users. Well, he clearly wants the note. The note's rhythm. What's this one? Note event is a note length change. That's not really note length changes in body. Well, that one wants the events. He really does want the events. Tune.notes.events. Notes.events sub 1. I don't think Parse tune. We'll see what parse tune's doing. There's so many of these. These don't care. These do. So this is kind of tricking that parse tune writes the events the way we expect to. Okay. So he doesn't really want the notes per se. He could probably just ask, what does tune know? I think we could almost say tone knows the score. And then we're always... Okay, let's make the score for now. Measures. Measure index in part. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm leaving stuff piled all over the place here. That adds the event. That triggers that calculation. Excuse me, I really just want a small bite here. Notes.events. Everybody asks for events. Now he's not even looking at stuff. This thing's asking, I want to see the events on all those notes, but notes? Well, he really does have all those events. I don't think he should care about them, though. That's the killer to me. Notes is note. Okay, that's more like it. Notes.events. Yeah. Okay. And this thing really just wants the notes. Parsons code analyzer. Let's go in here. I don't know if he's looking for, yeah, he only looks at notes. Okay. He's the real user. The rest of these are tests. Now this, let's see what he's getting. Right, so we are tracking measures into some sensible thing, I think. And people who want to know the notes probably should go ask the measure for it. All right, I think some of this is expectations are wrong. All right, let's find those failures. The notes reflect its parts, and we are seeing B. And why are we getting those notes in there? They're because wait, what are we asking for? Tune.notes. Okay. Parse that whole tune and give me the notes. And that should go through the parts in 32 and pull them out. Give us the FD. But we are also seeing the part change notices. And that's because tune.notes gives us that. Okay, let's see tune.notes. I don't think we want that. Now, let's see, same thing here. Yeah, because it's got the, okay, tune, score, all right, score. If score had a notes, part gives us a list of measures. If we map the measures to the notes, what do we get? Part gives us a list of measures. Okay, let's try that. So notes on tune. Well, let's just map to parts sub A dot part $0. Okay, that gives us a list of measures. Okay, let result equal this for now. Okay, that will give us a list of measures if we never update current part. Okay, so it should just be one score, but I'm going to muck with it a bit. All right, so notes. We're going to take the parts description AB, and we're going to map part A into the part of the score. That gives us an array of measures. Okay, we're going to map array of measures. Okay. I want to this two-level thing is getting me here. Okay. It maps the description to a list of measures. So we're going to have one list of measures for each thing. Okay. So I want to say, I guess I do this in here is what I'm getting at. Okay. Take parts, sub A. Part 0. Okay. Now that's a list of measures. Then we're going to map that to what are we mapping it to? Measures. Measures is a list of events. Okay. can we give a useful function here? Extension measure. Let's put a function in that's the notes and it returns a list of, I guess, event. This is not quite what I want. I think I really want a list of notes, don't I? I got score. Let's see, score. Does it have a constructor with notes? It does. Okay, so if measure gave us a list of note, all right, that would be kind of cool. All right, let's switch self. Case none, we're going to return an empty list. Case measure, list of event, events, we're going to say, oops, we're going to take those events dot map those events to, no, we want to filter those events. Filter $0 dot is note. Okay, so now we're going to return that. Okay, cannot return event to return type note. Is note, and then map them all to as note. Okay, so get the note out. Okay, how's this? If we have a measure with a bunch of events in it, we're going to return empty if it's a none, and return, take those events, find the ones that are notes, map them out, and return a note. Okay, that seems right to me. And now let's see, tune. You've got a part, which is a measure. Well, we know what to do to measures to get lists of notes. $0 dot, oh, come on, you're supposed to help me. Part on score returns array of measure. Okay, so each one of these should be measure in. All right, and we want to map each one to its notes. Measure.notes. Okay, so we've converted everything to the notes. Notes, okay. We got a bunch of maps of those, so we'll do a flat map to no mapping, but just flattening. Is there a flatten? Flatten? No. It's not a Bezier path. Okay. So that gives us those, and then let's just return a score with notes. Okay. Now, yeah, we guarantee it. Notes should be array of note. Oh. Okay. Note sub 0. Have we... I'm sure this can be better. I think this is going to change who passes and fails. I think notes of tune reflect its parts. These two may pass. There may be a bunch of others that we're expecting those events, and they will not be happy. Ay. Okay, let's look at notes. Presumably it's nil or empty. Let me get these types straight in my head. Okay. Parts sub A should return a score. Part from that returns a list of measures. So the type of this is array of measure. Okay. Then I'm going to map each measure to its notes. So that should be array of note, right? And then flat map array of note. What if I take off the flat map? What do I get? Notes is array of notes. Oh, golly. Okay. Oh. Yeah. I think I need the flat map in here. Now what do we got? I want to get to an array of notes. Let's call this result since I'm already using the word notes. Array of note. Okay. All right, let's try that again. Okay. All right, now this thing. Tune.notes. See, I think this is trying to get at the events. I don't know. I wish I could skip this one. How anybody else is doing anything? Let's put ignore for a minute. Yeah. He's doing the same kind of stuff. Well, I think it's tune dot part. No. Tune. Okay, I think I can still say sub A. I think he's really at this point. Let's say score. And this is really part sub A. Bang. So I think this test is asking the score for the events. Score, because that's the list of things in there. Oops, public. Okay, will this run? Whoops, what was the change there? Tune dot. Notes. Okay, where's my score? Score. This, oh, this one passed. Okay, good. All right, that gives us a path for the others. I don't think they should necessarily be asking for that, but it's going to be a process. Score. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to save those, work our way up to them. Nodes, tunes dot score. This may be too complicated. I don't know. Part A. Tune of A. sorry, it's tune score part A notes should be 3. Part A, ABC. Part B should be 2. So this is tune.score part B dot notes dot count. Okay. Measure has no type notes. Tune.score part score.part gives me measure. Tune score part A gives me the measure. There is no notes. I guess it's measure.count. Okay, because it's the array of measure. How many measures? I think that's should come back 1. Zero. Okay, tune score part A. Let's see what parse tune does. Okay, it gives us the tune. I don't like being in the middle of a big change like this. Okay, if I ask for the tune score part A, part A is giving back measure, array of measure, and it should be that stuff. Oh, do we call score.complete? Parse tune, AC parser.find tunes. Okay. Tune has complete. Who calls complete? Only tests. Okay. This guy should.
Be back in a minute, Jim.
Okay. He returns tunes. He needs to go
I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna
tunes
go
dot for each. Complete each one. Okay, where's that test again? All right, part A dot count. Yeah, I think. Oops. I just want to run this one test. Test failed. 1 is not equal to 3. Oh, well, this is the measure, and this one should be 1. Okay. The measure dot notes. Measure. There is one measure. It has notes. That should have 3 notes. Okay, part A. There's one measure. It should have notes, which should have 3 notes. Build. Generic parameter, note versus int. Okay. Let's do this a bit at a time. Tune.score dot part A. That should be an array of measures. Array of measures. Sub 0 should be one of those measures. And that should be, oh, I'm missing a dot count. Oh. Hey, I'm working on a program to analyze tunes for similarity, and I'm using this complicated input format called ABC. It's got all kinds of instruction markers and stuff like that. One of them is, one of them specifies parts, like you have an A part and a B part. I'm kind of in the middle of a big refactoring to change. I was doing everything in one pass, and now I need to do it in 2 passes. And I'm trying to get things to only happen in the first or second pass. But my change has, we've got 2 notions going on, and it's like some tests are grabbing the wrong. We have the notion of the events that happened, and then we're building those events into a big structure. Before we just had the events, and you would kind of look in there. So I've got a bunch of tests that are looking for events when they should be doing structure or vice versa, and I'm trying to get those knocked in. I was down to 7, and now I appear to be up to a bunch more than that, which is unfortunate. Okay, but I'm going to knock them through. Okay, so the deal now is the way to get to the scores stuff is much more complicated than it was. But I'm trying to just get the notes. Tune.score. I think this might be just tune.notes. No. F4, D4, F4, D4 is not equal to F4. Well, that seems wrong. I'm going to shortcut it a little bit. Okay, I've only got a few more minutes today. Maybe I might go to a quarter of, but yeah, thanks. All right. Now, groups of notes. Okay, check tune parsing. It looks like everybody's using check tune parsing. So if we get that right, we'll be okay. Okay, check tune parsing. Yeah. Expected tune has the expected notes. Okay, so tune.notes. Well, let's see what one of these is complaining about. I got a feeling it's the same thing as on the other one. the actual failure here? Okay. Okay, so they're giving me expected lines, expected note names, and the notes.events. I think I just want to do notes. Expected tune.notes. Tune has notes. Oh, it's a score. And score has notes, I think. It does not. Okay. Score has parts. Parts have measures. I'm going to say notes. Notes for a part name should be array of note. All right, let's go check where we were looking. Well, tunes.notes. Oh, maybe just tune.notes. Conflicting arguments. Score.element. I think this is, oh, it's a score. I think I can take this part off. And I'm never asking score.notes, so let's take that back out. Okay, run these again. Same failures. So that looks like expected tune.notes is empty every time. Is it every time? These messages sometimes come out backwards. Okay, let's just break here and do one of these failing ones. Tune.notes gives us a score. And what about expected tune.notes? Oh, well, that's not good. Expected tune. It's like it's not building this with the values. Expected notes is of type event. And this score with events. This should be events. Well, wait a minute. Oh, we have to complete it. We added this notion somewhere in there. This is that two-phase thing that's got to trigger the second phase. Okay, oh, that's my breakpoint. Let's just continue. 5 failures is more like it. Okay. Build a simple song. Okay, let's make this expected tune. Check tune parsing. Same problem here. And I know that's kind of ugly, but it's definitely on the chopping block for later. I think I'm going to get rid of that complete method anyway. All right, let's see them all. Okay. Oof. All right. So what we've done is, let's take a look. Well, we've tracked our events in the score rather than the tune. Okay. So track part change events in the score rather than the, I'm sorry, it's in the, yeah, in the score rather than the tune. Okay. Let's see what we got to do. Score, handle parts events. That we did. Make clients of score find the parts. That we did. I think. We either did it or did it and it became irrelevant. I'm not sure which. Make tune generate parts events rather than maintain the parts itself. Okay. I think that's where we will leave off. So the tune can be greatly simplified. Let's see, where's tune? So right now tune has this notion of parts, and we want to get rid of that. The part specification it should keep, but the current part and these parts we should get rid of. Okay, so to generate parts events rather than maintain the parts itself. That's not really accurate. I guess what we want to say is remove parts tracking from tune. Keep it in score only. Okay. And I think that should be straightforward. Nobody really uses it. We just assume it's the A part. And I think we can just make this a variable and not return the A part. It will be okay. But we'll pick up there tomorrow. And I'm hoping we can kind of get out of this messiness a bit. I think I'm seeing my way clear. This tunes will become, 2/3 the size, and then score. Score is maintaining the events and the measures. I think we need to the measures and parts. That's the real score. I think these events are they're of no interest once we do the second pass. So the first pass is parse all that stuff and get an event stream of all the things that can happen. And then the second part, what we call complete, we turn that into parts containing groups of measures, and the measures have the notes and stuff like that in them. So we will take it from there. Thanks for joining, and hope I catch you again in the future. Take care. Bye-bye.